Yes.
And also be that person who sucks the air when they come to the room, because every time you come, you're like, salaries will be delayed, or this, or people, so and so is leaving, so and so is leaving, so and so is leaving. Why are you telling me who is leaving? Why are you listing the people who are leaving? Why aren't you leaving? Ladies and gentlemen, this is another episode of Inside CPD. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, where are you watching us from? I am here, Miss Winnie, and joined by...
Hi, I'm Agnes Ngala.
And today we are talking about teacher advocacy. I don't know what we've heard about advocacy. I think, Miss, as usual, we start with you telling us what is advocacy, what is teacher advocacy, so that as we continue with this conversation, we don't lose out on any of our viewers. We exactly are starting all on the same page.
The simplest way I can define advocacy would be giving the teacher a voice. When you have your voice and your autonomy, the decision-making capacity, then you're not afraid to make decisions. You're not afraid to move to the next level or solve problems. So teacher advocacy or teacher agency is purely you as a teacher having a voice and using it to make solutions.
Good. And so maybe we can start from, how do you get that voice? We always talk about you need to have a voice, Even in marriage, we say women need to have a voice. How do you get that voice? And I think most of the time it comes from understanding who you are. We've talked about this so many times. When you understand who you are, you don't feel bad, because in the process of teacher advocacy, you know what happens? There's going to be feedback.
That's true.
You're going to talk about things that are not working, and people are going to react in 1,000 different ways.
Right.
So if you don't have the stamina, the cushioning to get in that feedback, you will feel like you're being attacked, sort of.
Yeah.
So first thing, understand who you are. Speak from a point of information. I understand this is a challenge because, and then have data. You can't just say this is a challenge. Remember, when talking about teacher advocacy, it means you are seeing something and saying something. When you see something, in this case, we're talking about the problems, the challenges, the things that are not working, the things that are not so comfortable in our environment. So for a classroom, for me, it's the school culture. If the school culture is, it's draining me, I'm wasting so much time doing discipline and maintaining the attention of the students rather than doing the real job, which is teaching, it becomes it's such a burden, sort of. And so I have to speak about it because it's affecting me.
It is.
You understand? And so when you talk about teacher advocacy, it's seeing the problem, pointing out the problem, and most importantly, creating a solution to that problem.
Yes.
What are some of the problems we've seen in school setup? What are some of the things? What are those things that we experience as teachers, and sometimes we don't even talk about them?
Off the top of my head, in fact, as you're saying, you see a problem and then you say something. Remember, when you see a problem, I can decide to start complaining. This school or these people or these children, what are you doing about it? What is the solution you're coming to? But in answer to your question, there are many problems you see in school. For example, behavioral. Children are now just unruly. A couple of years ago, I think it started several years ago, maybe even during our time in high school, in the early 2000s, you discover that there's the student unrest. There's the banning of schools. There is the in discipline cases going over and above than the normal thing. So we can sit back and complain or generalize the problem that these children, it's how they are raised. But think about it. As a teacher, isn't that a problem?
It is.
Where is the solution coming from? So as a teacher, I'm sure there are those of you who have actually pinpointed the problem to the letter. What are you doing about it? Are you part of the problem or
part of the solution?
Right? Or you are starting a solution. Let me give another problem. For instance, you find that there is what is this thing? Children being nasty to one another. And they can be so mean.
Verbal bullying.
Even physical and even online, because the online are totally different from here. So you notice that, and it's on the rise, and or another one, children are increasingly getting depressed.
I know.
It is a problem. So what do you notice, and then how are you going to approach it? Are you complaining that in that school children are depressed because maybe there's too much work, or the school culture is bad, and so I can't go to that school because children are nasty, teachers are nasty? What are you doing about it? What, that's the approach, because then when we know the problem, I can decide to sit alone with it, sit back and watch and see, let's see how this ship is going to sink. Or let's find a few teachers. Hey guys, have you noticed
Put
this
our heads
as well?
together and find a solution.
Right? So that's part of you bringing your voice, because in the long run, they will even burn your house, especially if that house is in the school.
The school compound. Yeah.
Children don't burn houses. So, yeah.
So maybe another thing I can add, sometimes we've also seen the students taking, I don't know, they don't take, you see performance continuously going down.
Yeah.
So as a teacher, most of the time you think, it's okay, they don't revise at home, you can have all those excuses. But you see, as a teacher, the result that everyone is benchmark is using to confirm how I've been working is the academic outcomes.
Yes.
And so if the outcomes are not matching the expectations, then that is definitely a problem. And as you said, I can sit and say, it was squeezy, this, but I can actually do something about it. There's also the generation gap. We are millennials teaching Gen Alphas.
Hey.
Gen Alphas are interesting, but we'll discuss that later. There's so many things that we notice that are so unique to this generation. And so yes, we cannot just sit and say it's these kids of nowadays. No, what can I do about it? Okay. And then there's also the idea of teachers or the school administration. When one person makes a mistake, it's a whole briefing. It's a whole briefing and say we are doing this and this and this. It's not everyone. It was just one person who made that mistake. So even as we're talking about advocacy, we're talking about the students' well-being as well as the teachers' well-being. Because if I'm really doing my best, I'm putting my A game, and then I hear the next briefing, they're saying teachers are not doing this. I'm like, hey.
It's like what you're doing,
so
is
I'm not being seen, I'm not being noticed. So I feel like the advocacy comes in when you can actually speak and say, actually, it is not everyone. If there are things which are not going wrong, it is not everyone. It is specifically this area, and this is how we can solve the problem. So it is about seeing something, and saying something. And then you also talked about not complaining.
Yes.
Being part of the solution, not part of the problem.
There's one other thing, and allow me to just throw the spanner in the works. Think about if there's an actual problem within the school, if you're in a private school and so many teachers are leaving,
turnout.
And the turnout is so high, and you're wondering, why is this happening? Or teachers abscond duty, like in the public schools. You just notice your staff is not showing
the hardware.
Winnie, come on. Selling mabati. So you see, teachers don't show up. Or you notice that there's a problem with management, and you discover that they are not being professional with the staff.
Handling staff.
So then what? As a new teacher in the space, or even a teacher who has seen, and you notice that these guys, they always do this thing to new teachers, or they always do this to female teachers, or there are certain teachers who are favored than others, and you've seen such experiences in different stations. So as a teacher, you're a human being first. How are you voicing certain problems? And you see, your teacher agency or teacher advocacy, teachers have a bad name sometimes. Sometimes. Or is it a lot of times?
I'm listening.
Teachers have a bad name. But can we just change that name? Because that's why we are here. We have to speak up, and we are not pinpointing, but we are shining light to some dark areas so that we know that you are able to speak up and say there is a problem in this system. There's a problem on how this is being handled. And you don't have to be abrasive about it, or I decide to confront you, but how professionally am I going to speak my voice, not only to point out the problem, but start working towards getting solutions. What can we do? Otherwise, you'll just be one other ranting person who the management will be happy to dismiss. Yes.
And also be that person who sucks the air when they come to the room. Because
That's
every time
true.
you come, you're like, salaries will be delayed, or this, or people, so and so is leaving, so and so is leaving, so and so is leaving. Why are you telling me who is leaving? Why are you listing the
Why
people
is it
who are
your
leaving?
business?
Why aren't you leaving? Anyway, so and this always happens especially the summer break when the turnover is, anyway, that's another story for another day. So advocacy has a lot to do with when you see something that is not working, be the solution to that problem. And if you really cannot be the solution, at least don't add to the problems.
That's true.
For example, if you're saying teachers are absconding duty, it's a big problem. Why are you among them? Okay, teachers are going late to class. Why are you among them? Why are you late? What is so important that you're doing that is keeping you out there? And that's why we say introspection and just doing a SWOT analysis makes it so easy for you to say, because also, unfortunately, when you start speaking out, you can easily become a target.
Yeah, because you're rubbing shoulders.
You're rubbing shoulders. And you're talking about some of the things are very sensitive.
That's right.
And you're touching different departments and organizations or portfolios within the company that are very sensitive. For example, if you're calling out that students' discipline is not right, the pastoral team will always obviously feel attacked, sort of. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are attacking them. It means, and that's why I was coming to say that if you're going to call out, make sure you are not living in a glass house and throwing stones. Have you done your bit?
Yes.
If you're going to say that our discipline is not, what have you done? What have you done to make it better? So that as you're calling for action, we can see your point of your starting point. This is where I've been. This is what I've done. And guys, I'm calling out because my boat is sinking. And it's sinking. Yet I've done everything I can to keep it afloat. So that you can get help. And that way, even if someone comes and sees that what you're saying is actually true and it's negative, they're not looking at it as criticism, they're looking at it as support. That's right. I've seen this gap and this is how we can fill it. And that's why we are repeating that it is about finding problems and creating solutions to those problems.
All right. So one other thing I'm capturing then from this discussion of the teacher agency and advocacy, that means that part of the solution building, a teacher can use their capacity, their giftings, their strength areas to start solving a problem. Let me give an example. Sometimes students who are unruly, you find a community, maybe from the community they are from, or they are living near crime prevalent areas. Then you find a teacher who's a sports teacher, and they just discover that these children need to be taught discipline, but with a team mindset in mind. So, and you've even watched movies like that, So you start creating a football plan, or even just as like football or athletics or basketball,
and creating
whichever.
a sensation around it.
Yes. So after school activity can then be these students look forward to this because it's one thing that they belong. They feel like they belong rather than needing to belong in an unruly gang
or clique.
Or clique. Then team sports become a thing. Maybe you are gifted in like you and your public speaking, and then you start developing kids who have been feeling like they want to put down others, and it's a clique thing. So you discover this one commands a lot of attention from their peers. How about I pick them up and start developing a new movement within the school that others want to be part of, but it has some positivity. So see, it's a teacher seeing a problem and starting developing a solution to it. So I think we can also use our giftings and our innate strengths to bring solutions in the space where we are, so that you have sought and you've done everything you could as far as a teacher, as far as your influence in the lives of the students is concerned. And so see, the thing is, the most important thing maybe as we talk about teacher advocacy is ask ourselves, what change would you want in this space? What change would you want? For me, I'll want shorter queues of a lunch break. I'll want longer playtime. I'll want
less meetings. I would want more engagement during the meetings that are less. I would want more pay.
I had you, Apocalypse.
I know.
I had you.
I would want more pay. I would have longer holidays, more fruitful welfare sessions, sort of, and well-being. So looking at all those things I want, out of those things, are there things that I can do to make them happen? Of course.
Yeah.
For example, if I want shorter queues, what does that mean? I just need to talk to the catering team, if I'm the one on duty, to hasten a little bit.
Yeah.
I also just need to make the queues straight. If I'm the one on duty, right? If they are straight, then they move faster. But if it's just like driving, the more you overlap, the more you stay in one place.
That's true.
So is it something I can solve? Yes. Is it within my mandate? Yes. And then the things that actually need, let's say if we need more pay, do I really need more pay? Or do I need multiple sources of income, right? So if I need more pay, then I have to go to talk to admin and then my admin be 10 or 30 or 50,000. But do I really need that? Maybe I just need multiple sources of income. Is that within my reach? Yes. So when it comes to advocacy, it has a lot to do with what changes do you want within your space and how do you implement those changes. So I can still get more money without having to talk to my head teacher about it.
Yeah.
And that's where we need to go. That I want the things I want happening and making those things happen.
That's true.
Okay. And so if we're talking at advocacy as it is, how do you, if you're in a space where you feel your voice, let me ask you, how do you know your voice matters? In a school setup, how do you know your voice matters? How do you?
Maybe when you start a conversation and you point out a solution, for instance, or you notice that you give a suggestion to a general problem, how well is it taken? Is it taken as a complaint or a spotlight to the leaders, or they actually think, okay, what you said made sense.
That's insight.
You understand? So then that means your voice matters. But then I'm also wondering, those of you who lead big teams or teams of teachers, you know, teachers are not quacks. They're professional. For real. They go to
Please
school
say
to
that
learn.
again.
They're professionals. And so we each have our experiences. We each know that this path, I've been there, done that, and I'm sure
I know
it's going to lead me in a certain way. Even in terms of teaching, think about duty, which is I won't call it a pain point, it's a safeguarding point, but sometimes you've absconded duty, or you know that team member who never does duty,
or is
but
never on
nothing,
time.
and nothing happens to them.
Why do you let that happen?
That's what I'm saying. It's your voice. As a teacher, you speak up like, this is working, I'm doing my part. But also you cannot let the ball drop because another teacher didn't show up. So then what do we do? And we've been in those places where maybe you forgot, but if it is something that is constantly happening,
every other
so
time,
then what?
Then something needs to happen.
You see, we are looking at the urgency from the point of bringing solutions. And I'm just wondering, what about my professionalism? Are you also considering it as I give you my voice?
You know what I've learned about this is in any organization, unfortunately, the best are always rewarded by being given more. And I'm sorry to say this, and it's one of the hardest truths.
Yeah.
Like, if I have two nannies in my house, right? One is very, very keen on this and this and this, and she's very spot on. The other one, she's okay, but you know, I will find myself when I want to give instructions, giving to the one who
works hard.
Exactly. Why?
Because
I know when I'm coming with visitors at 3 p.m. I want tea on the table by 3 p.m. I know who to tell. And will I find tea on the table at 3 p.m.? Exactly. I will also tell the other one, but I will arrive at 3:45, still no tea, no sign of anything in the kitchen. Next time I'll be like, this is not what I want. I might not even let her go. She will still stay with me another 8 years. But the other one who's efficient, she will work double. She'll be holding the side of this other lady.
So
now, let me come back and say, this means that leadership, and this is now to leaders, don't be quick to go with the ones that are working and then leave the other ones behind. Because now the one who's efficient, if this nanny continues to bear the weight of this other one, she'll resign midway when I need her the most. She'll do 2 years, quality 2 years, and she'll be like, you know what, I have to go. And then this one who's not delivering, she'll be there. Because now where can she go anyway? Yeah. She'll be there and she'll be there and she'll be there. So every time I hire another person, I will hire, and then they do a good job, and then they feel, hey, I'm being pulled down, and then they go. So sometimes it has to do with the administration noticing the gaps and saying, this employee is not performing at par. How can we support them so that they actually reach there? Remember, when it comes to advocacy, it has a lot to do with solutions, right? So yes, she's not delivered. Winnie has not delivered.
Yeah.
So what have you done about it? Have you supported her? Have you found out what challenges she's facing? Or have you paired her with someone who's delivering so that next time she doesn't have an excuse, she was left in the deep end to swim alone? So those specific actions that you've taken are what are making it easy for us to actually support each other, because we can see the steps someone has taken.
Yeah. There's something I know we have discussed at length in the past, not in the podcast, but in our other circles, that when you talk about if a school requires all children sitting forward, facing forward, but you know that when children are taught in that manner, you only teach maybe 5. The rest are gone. Or you discover that this particular teachers in our school are not being innovative in their style. And so you enter a class, you have put your class in order, you've settled them, they're ready. And then that unruly teacher, and by the way, the unruly teacher just comes and disrupts your class, and then you're back to square one. That's another thing. Pointing out issues.
You point out.
To peers.
You can talk. You can call them aside and say this and this and this. You can. That's
So then there's that, and then there's that teacher, and that is another agency angle where we'd sit down like what we're doing now. We discuss like, hey, by the way, there's this particular class. I'm wondering, can we try another strategy? What can we do? This is you and me looking for solutions without having somebody nudge us to tell us, we've realized things are not working in this year group or in this level. Take the initiative.
Yeah.
So seek it out so that you are the one with the solution. But as it is, this class is not working, or this school is just unruly, there's too much drugs, or there's nothing is working, you're constantly not meeting the mean grade. When teachers now sit down and discover, excuse me, we can't be professionals who have been trained, didn't get our certificate from River Road, and our students are failing. What do we do? So isn't that part of advocacy too?
It is.
Then take us through teachers who have not been feeling that it is actually celebrated for you to bring out your voice, to bring solutions. How can they do that without necessarily rubbing shoulders, but having their voices heard?
I think I'll go back to, remember what I said earlier. What changes do you want? Okay. Those changes, as you said, go ahead and implement one at a time. And then you'll always find like-minded people. And sometimes that's when PLC is coming. PLCs, you're going to share some of the challenges and then create solutions for those problems in those small groups. So what will happen is the rest of the school will see that these 3 teachers, their classes are different. Or these 3 teachers, their results are different. Or these 3 teachers, their students respect them more. There's going to be that thing shining out or standing out about those 3 teachers or those few teachers. And so that way you're going to kind of create a ripple effect, because we are a sum product of everyone's actions. So if I'm making a change in my year 5 and you're making a change in your year 9, another is making their change in your KG, the few pockets of change, when combined, it becomes a big difference. So it doesn't have to be you're standing at a podium and being listened to small things. And that's why you say it start with who you are. You cannot afford to critique when you are not at a place where you are also doing the most. You have to be at a point where you are at your best, so that when you talk about something, everyone can understand where you're coming from.
So like Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see.
Exactly. Be the change you want to see. And guys, we want to wrap it up.
So teachers, are you feeling that you're ready to make changes? Are you feeling empowered enough? What change have you done? Comment, tell us, what changes have you been doing, like
in your institution?
In your institution, right? Or which other questions are you feeling? Maybe you are scared and you think that if I raise this, I might be penalized, or one thing or the other, because change is sensitive, and there are people who do not like change. In fact, people go through a whole change management. But
Who Moved My Cheese? You remember it?
Right, yeah. The book is interesting. You need to read it.
Yeah.
So, what change are you seeing that needs to happen? Don't be part of the complaining crew. Ask yourself, get a friend, get a peer, get a colleague. What can we do? Be the change you want to see. And literally, see that change and start it small, one small step at a time, because you can't move the entire mountain overnight. Just start one small bit at a time. And one other thing, your voice matters.
It matters.
You are a professional.
Start by sharing, liking, comment. We will notice.
Exactly, we will.
We will
and
reach out.
Will see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Guys, this is Inside CPD. And we are talking about teacher advocacy. I hope you learned one or two things. And we are impacting lives one teacher at a time. See you in the next video. Adios.
Bye-bye.